morally superior to any laws of Babylon or the military-industrial complex, and we don't use no stinking bookkeeping. And we don't want no truck, this is a Southern American expression, we don't want no truck with, it doesn't mean a truck that you drive, it means we don't want anything to do with zoning regulations. We don't want anything to do with laws. Spiritual law is all that is important. The law of one. We are all one. Oh, now that I'm acting, I might as well add, we don't need any stinking agreements because we're all one. I'm exaggerating just a little. Okay. As time went on, now I have to draw my famous chart of time. Then we really do have to leap into the 19 steps. Okay, here is visionary idealism. And here is time, which is the number of years that a community exists. Okay, are you ready? This is visionary idealism. La 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 la. Here is cynicism. Here is what you might call practical idealism. Which practical what works? Okay? What tends to work in organizations that have effective project management? Okay, so what tends to happen in communities, it happened in mine, is that we start out up here, and then we have no membership process whatsoever, because if a person is spiritually guided to join us, then who are we to say no to their karma and our karma? Isn't that true? I mean, aren't we spiritual beings who know a whole lot more than everybody else about everything? Yes, we are. And so we don't need no stinking membership process like that Creating a Life Together book suggests. What does she know? She's obviously not spiritual. Not only that, we don't need no stinking rules and guidelines for our behavior because we will all behave impeccably well every single day of our lives. Because when we enter community, our emotional baggage will magically be left behind the door and we'll enter as pristine new beings filled with the glorious golden light of the 5th level of the astral plane. We will not be the people that we were when we lived over there. Not only that, we don't need no stinking governance. We'll simply know. So, we enter community. Does anybody in Sweden ever think like this? No. How about Latvia? Does anybody in Latvia ever speak like this? Poland? Where's our Polish lady?
You speak exactly like someone I live with, and I have stopped communication because it gets too airy for me. But you speak just like that.
Yeah.
We don't need to make any decisions. We already know everything.
This is very, very, very common. Okay, we have to check Estonia. Okay, let's see. Latvia, Finland. We have some Finns in here. Does that happen in Finland sometimes?
Maybe. But actually it's kind of management because it's manipulating management. This.
Oh, let's see. You use the M word, manipulation.
Yeah, but then
I wasn't going to say it out loud, but since you did. Okay, so we manipulate people with spiritual platitudes.
Yeah.
Somebody says something isn't fair. We go, well, life isn't fair. There, that's the end of it. Somebody says, well, I don't think George should join because George behaved so badly, not to mention he was drunk at his interview. And we say, but we are all one. We are George. So, as we're coming in, we're very visionary. necessary, but then we have some terrible experiences. Now we have clear agreements in writing. We have clear governance. We have a membership process. Ladies and gentlemen, why should you wait 18 years? I have come across the Atlantic specially to tell you these things.
I'm curious how you move and if it works today.
Better than before. So I was going to do a little acting. The other side of it is some of the newer people. So now I'm going to be a guy, imagine with big shoulders, baritone voice, more testosterone than I have. I'd like to do what works. You people of my parents' and grandparents' generation who are talking about these sort of new age hippie things, doesn't make any sense to me. I want a community where it just actually functions well so we can actually do our goal. Do I seem like a guy? It's so hard to be a guy. I'm going to be a girl. Now I'm 28 years old and I'm absolutely filled with consciousness and intelligence, and I come into this group and I go, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why don't we just do what works? After all, we are an eco-village and we want to have people get inspired and encouraged by what we're doing so that they too will live more sustainably, so that we can be a model that actually helps people. So why do we give them a model of dysfunctional governance and not being able to find our agreements and having in 1998 thrown away the legal advice that would have saved us $15,000 now?
It's for you to start this research and write 2 wonderful books. Because without this experience.
Oh, I wasn't pretending to be me. I was pretending to be this young, conscious, beautiful, intelligent person that has joined our community. But you get the point. So this is basically everything that I came here to share. Let's go here. We can. So let's talk about those 19 steps. Do you have that handout?
Sorry, is it the short answer to the question, who owns the land and the houses?
I'm so sorry. I thought I did answer that. The answer is yes, we all own all of our land, and none of us owns our own houses. We all own everybody's house. I own a very rich, fancy house next door. They own my tiny little hut. They own my solar system. I own their solar system.
But you pay for your own thing. It is only in the thought you own them, not practical.
It's only in our thoughts.
And when you move, you sell them like black money.
What we did, black money?
If you do not own, is it the community that's or is it the person?
Until now, we always sold our own house to who moved in, who paid the community for the site lease fee and the joining fee, and then if I was going to leave and they wanted to buy my house, I'd sell them my house separately. We have to do everything differently now, and we don't know yet how we're going to, but we have a step-by-step
But
process.
you sold the house not officially, it was under the money of
No, it's not under a table. They
But
just
you didn't pay tax for it as an income or anything. You didn't register it. Is that what I call? Because if you don't own the house, you cannot sell the house. I mean,
what we did in the past, we did in the ignorance of what the law would have us do, and we thought it was fine. And what we're going to do now is different, and it's going to be completely legal. So the fights in our community, to come back to that, and then we really are going to the 19 steps. The fights we had in our community was between the people who said, let's be legal so we can protect ourselves. We're very vulnerable to many, many things, and we cannot bear to be this vulnerable because then we could lose everything. And if we lost everything, what's the point of these almost 19 years of working so hard? And then there's the people who said, fighting them, I will not let us do these bad mainstream culture things. We're better than these legalities. We're better than this kind of legal ownership. We don't want to own anything. People can't own anything. Land cannot be owned, should not be owned. We are all spiritual beings who should not own land. We should not be greedy. You're greedy if you want to own your own land and protect your assets. I want to protect my assets. I wouldn't even say a word like assets. But I have money in the bank in my little house I built, and I don't want to lose everything if we go exploding as a community. You shouldn't care about that. You should be more spiritual.
Who was it? Young people, old people, new people? Who was on which side?
Well, the founders who were visionaries who wanted to make a better world were the ones standing over here, over here, who said you should be more spiritual and we shouldn't own anything. But gradually their voices became quieter and quieter as it became more and more obvious to more people that it's absolutely crazy to break the law, even if you don't know better. As soon as you know, you have to follow the law. Also, the courts of law in the US don't give two figs if you knew the law or not. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
But is it still the founders who want to keep it as a one place?
They are protesting very quietly now because there's been 3 years of a learning process.
Interesting, in my case, it's the old people who found that, the founders who want to have legal, and the young people who still want to have it like visionary. That's interesting, huh?
Yeah, the young.
Different.
Sometimes when I give workshops to young people, I have to be especially strong because they're going to have such absolute, rigid, authoritarian views that we should all be vegan spiritual people who never let a morsel of sugar part our lips, or that we must always recycle everything all the time, and we can never ever have anything but passive solar houses that are completely off the grid with roof water catchment, composting toilets, and expensive solar systems, which means that only wealthy people can join our community because they're so rigidly, authoritarianly, fundamentalist ecological. That's who I talk to. Oh, you recognize the pattern. Over there, over here. What's an ocean? The same things happen, right? Okay. Could I borrow your 19 steps handout? Would you please grab a hold of this paper? You're going to get the whole entire 15-page handout if you want to. And this is what happened. I got asked by a friend in Japan. Oh my gosh, we have 3 minutes. I got asked by a friend in Japan to write a chapter for a book that he was publishing about how in the West do eco-villages typically get started. So I took everything I've learned from researching my book and then everything I've learned since and put it into 19 little steps. Are there 19 steps? Why, there might be 17, 13, or 23. I just sliced the pie into 19 parts. They're not just steps. Some of these are processes or tasks. Some are one-time tasks. Some are ongoing things that you continue to do. But generally, it's in this order. Generally. Some things are happening simultaneously. There's a game I love to play called the timeline game. We get a great big long table down the middle of the room. And I have 97 cards that are about this big, with the words in 2 sides. One side facing this way and the words facing the other. We put the cards on the table in a random, chaotic order. Then we ask the people to please arrange the cards in parallel tracks. We call that in start and we call that in finished. People have about an hour to do it, and when they're done, I go look at the cards. Sometimes I say, oh, well, you can't do the permaculture site plan on the land until you buy the land. So I walk down here to the end where they bought the land and I put it afterwards. And then they might start their website over here. And I go, no, you need to start your website actually quite a bit earlier here, right after you first start, so that you can get other founders and people to join you. And so people can know what you're doing, so that your neighbors and the local authorities will know what you're doing, and that it's benign and good. So then I just sort of rearrange the cards. So in the 23 seconds that we have left, I'm exaggerating a bit, would you take a look at this list, and do you have any comments or questions? Remember, it's not truly linear.